South Africa take on Australia in the second T20 in Durban after losing the first T20 by 111 runs. South Africa will have to try and bounce back and put in a performance that we can all be proud of, because last night wasn't necessarily a performance that we could really be proud of. The intensity was off, and the performances were off, the execution was off, and yeah, it wasn't necessarily one of the best performances that I could say from a South African perspective, even in defeat. But we're going to be previewing the game that starts tomorrow, the second game, the second T20I. Starts at 6 o'clock South African Standard Time. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm always looking forward to it when the Proteas plays, but when the Proteas play. And I know that this T20 series is supposed to be a series that we are supposed to try a couple of things and give some players opportunities. But we still want to see, obviously, a performance from the boys as well. But before we get going and start with this show, there's a couple of things I'd like you guys to please do. Please subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell for all future videos. Also, I'd like you guys to please download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. You can subscribe for free today. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. And if you want to help us out here at Cricket Fanatics magazine and keep things going, then become a patron today. The link is on the screen, and that's the way you guys can show your support for us. And then go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your regular updates. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Looking forward to discussing this with you guys. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics magazine. This is your preview show. I'm your host Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with the second T20I between South Africa and Australia. So we are obviously hoping for a bounce back after a difficult performance. A lot of us would have said that it's quite an embarrassing performance, low intensity, completely dominated, outclassed by Australia. So we are obviously going to want to see a bounce back from the boys and see what they can do in the second match. Before I get into what I would like to see from a changes perspective and what team I'd like to see take the field, I think it's fitting for us to maybe start with what Riza Hendricks had to say after the game. Now, Riza was obviously the top performer for South Africa, and he scored yet another 50. I think he's only scored out of the last 10 scores or something like that. He's only had two scores below 40. I mean two scores below 50, 142 and I think 112 or 21 or something like that. I think 21. I think that, and the rest are all half centuries. So brilliant form that this guy's in. Let's see what he had to say after the game. Proteas batsman Riza Hendricks admitted that Australia's intensity and competitiveness proved just too strong for the South Africans as they stumbled to a record 111-run loss in the first of three T20Is against the Baggy Greens in Durban last night. Hendricks top scored for the home side with a knock of 56 runs from 43 balls, while Australian captain Mitchell Marsh steered his side to a total of 226 for 6 in the 20 overs, scoring an unbeaten 97 runs in the process. The Marsh masterclass was supported by a well-executed partnership by Tim David. On the other side of the crease, David joined the skipper in the middle with Australia sitting at 77 for 4. The duo then steered the visitors past 150-run mark before Proteas spinner Tabray Shamsi claimed the scalp of David for 64 runs during the 15th over. The damage had already been done, and with the captain fantastic in the middle and a 23-run cameo from Aaron Hardy, Australia posted 226. In their chase of the biggest total ever posted in Kingsmead, South Africa suffered an early blow when Temba was dismissed for a duck in the first over by Stoinis. Hendrick proved to be the only shining light in the Proteas arsenal. His half century with a 20-run cameo from Rassie van der Dussen and Marco Jansen saw the host bowled out for 115 runs. Reacting to the record defeat, Hendricks lamented the lack of partnerships and rapid fall of wickets around him for his side's shortcomings in reaching the total. I thought we actually bowled nicely, he said. We got wickets when we needed, he said. They came out with the intent and put us under pressure, but we always felt like we were in the game by taking wickets. However, that partnership by Mitch Marsh and Tim David put them in a good position. Obviously, with the batting, there's not much to talk about. We were just lacking with partnerships. Had we managed to get two or three partnerships going, I'm sure it would have been a different game. So I don't 100% agree. I do think that the intensity, yes, there was a lack of intensity. Definitely, that's probably something that really stood out from that perspective. But I also don't think that the execution from the bowlers was consistent. There were a couple of deliveries that were brilliant, and yes, there were a couple of deliveries that obviously got took wickets and resulted in wickets. But there was a lot of inconsistency with the ball. The pitch of the deliveries, a lot of full tosses. It seemed like they were trying to bowl as well as fast as possible, rather trying to take pace off the ball. There wasn't many variations from that perspective either. So there are a couple of things that I can look at and say we could have been a lot better. Death bowling also wasn't very good. Lazard Williams bowled decently for that. He took 3 wickets. Um, but ultimately, overall, from the side, I think they could have bowled a lot better and more consistent. Unfortunately, we were punished for that. And we need to be more clinical and keep the pressure on. And I hope that they show a little bit more intensity when it comes to the second game. The clash against the Baggy Greens was South Africa's first international match in almost 5 months. The talk during the week was that the home side weren't necessarily concerned about the long layoff from competitive cricket and that their preparations had gone well. However, the performance on the pitch stated otherwise. For starters, the home side bowling attack looked rusty, bowling expensive deliveries, which saw each of the 5 bowlers concede 40 plus runs. Lazard Williams, just like Hendricks with the bat, was the pick of the bowlers, picking up 3 wickets in his 4 overs with an economy of 11. Hendricks, however, admitted that Australia's intensity proved to be too much for the hosts. I wouldn't say it's a shocker. It's hard to put in words. It's just a bit different with the competitiveness, intensity, and you can't replicate that in training, especially if you're training amongst your own. It's just completely different, said Hendricks. Obviously, when you're playing more, you get used to it, the intensity and the competitiveness. But yeah, we haven't played leading up to this, which is a bit more difficult, which is true. Yeah, that's plain and simple to see. Whether they had good training sessions and net sessions is irrelevant because for it's more important to show to have game time under your belt so that you can have actual competitive games. So that's something that needs to change for tomorrow. The Proteas will have to quickly move forward and forget about the disappointing defeat as the second T20I is just around the corner on Friday, 1st September. The match will be played at the same venue, Kingsmead at Durban at 6. Hendricks believes there's a lot to improve if his sides are to level the series up. With a quick turnaround, we have to put tonight behind us and look ahead, he said. Come Friday, it's another opportunity for us to improve. So, yeah, we're obviously not using the lack of game time as an excuse, but we're looking forward to the next game. A lot of room for improvement come Friday. There is a lot of improvement. But the first thing probably that we should be talking about and we should get into is obviously which team is going to play. So let me just go into the live chat straight away and read some of your comments and see what you guys have to say. Gerard Campbell saying give Donovan Ferreira a chance to play in place of the mediocre T20 batter Bavuma. Paul Terry saying agrees Siraj Timba is not a T20 type of player and for goodness sake win the toss and bat first. Abhishek saying, is there any news regarding the Proteas sponsorship? If there is any news, I will let you know. I will mention it first on this channel. So stay tuned and click the notification bell, and I will let you guys know immediately when there's sponsorship. I know you'll keep asking the question over and over again. It's not going to make us get a sponsor any quicker, but I will let you guys know when the sponsor is announced. From what I've heard, that there is something in the works and these conversations been had about a sponsor, but it hasn't been confirmed quite as yet. Asif saying South Africa tomorrow bounce back. Um, Abai says still more loud remodeling work on at home. Won't be able to join. That's okay, Abai. Khalid, I have a question for you. What changes would you make to the 11 for game two? For me, it's Brzeski in to open the batting instead of Babuma. I think Rassi van der Dussen deserves a second chance or another chance, given that he didn't do too badly yesterday, and he out of the two batters he showed more improvement in his game than Pavuma did. So I would give Rassi van der Dussen another chance. I think that the experimental phase of these two um, needs to come to an end, because if they didn't make the T20 World Cup squad the last time, then why still persist with him if they're probably not going to make the next T20 squad? It just doesn't make sense to me, especially when you have your senior players back. They, Bavuma doesn't replace Kwani. Rassi doesn't replace Riley Rousseau. He's not going to replace Aiden Markram. So you might as well, in my opinion, put a younger guy on the bench that can play with freedom, that can play with confidence, that is trying to improve his game and is trying to learn from the scenario. So for me, um, that's what would happen from that regard. Actually, I would like to see Donovan Ferreira play, and I would also like to see Deva Brevis play and Stubbs play higher up the order. So I would actually, if I had my way, it would be Brzeski, Aiden Markram at four, I at three. I would have Brzeski. I mean not Brzeski. I'll open up with Brzeski and Rasi and Riza. I'd go Aiden Markram at three. I'd go Deva Brevis at four. I'll go Tristan Stubbs at four, and I'll go Deva at five. And then I'll go six with Donovan Ferreira, seven with Marco Janssen, eight with seven Marco Janssen, eight with Gerald Coetzee, nine with Bjorn Vertain, I'll throw in there, um, 10 with Lazard Williams, and 11 with Shamsi. That would be my 11 going into the match. Yeah, 21 from 11 from Rashford is not bad. At least he showed that he can get going early on, which isn't how he normally goes about it. So he does deserve, um, he probably will deserve a second chance. But for me personally, I mean, I would want to go with a younger team tomorrow, and have the 11 that I wanted to pick for the first game. Mo says, I totally disagree with RVD to play again. He's old and never be consistent. Let's move on for someone younger. That's where I've come from. But it's either Don or Stubbs, and I'll think they're going with Stubbs again. Harley, that reminds me of what Lubabalo tweeted last night. He wants to experiment a bit and play Stubbs at three. Yeah, like I want to experiment as well. That's something. You see, Tristan Stubbs, like I said on last night's show, for me, he's a proper batter. He's not a slugger or big hitter that comes at the end. He needs to face more deliveries, and I would like to see him face more deliveries. So moving up the order would be a good thing, I think. But playing him at four and then and Dievat at five is a good move. Um, and I also would like to see Donovan Ferreira come into the mix as well. It's an option that could take place over here. But if they, I don't see necessarily Rob dropping both Timba, for example, and Rassi van der Dussen actually. Um, let's see how ruthless he can be. If he does drop anyone, it might be one of them, and then Rassi will play. But then in that case, I would still like to see Donovan Ferreira come into the side, personally. Uh, but the ideal thing for me would be for Brzeski to come in to open. Like I said, I would move Aiden up to three, and then Stubbsy at four, and at five I'll have Dierwald. At six I'll have Donovan Ferreira. That would be my top six. I think, and Lawrence, I think it's impossible to accommodate both of them. I think it's possible to accommodate both of them. I mean, you can. I mean, Donovan can play as a batter alone. He doesn't have to be the keeper, or vice versa with Stubbs too. I don't see Rob dropping Temba or Rassi. It will be one or the other, says Lawrence. Lorenzo, I agree with Stubbs moving up the order, and I hope it works. But what if it doesn't work out? Will that hamper his World Cup selection? I'm sure think it might. But I mean, I don't think that we should. This sorry. It's got a lot to do with also giving him an extended run. You can't just try him once there and then it doesn't come off. Then you say, okay, we tried and it didn't work. I mean, if they're going to try and move him up the order, they should give him in the last two games to play there and see how it does. And see how he does there, and then maybe make a call. Um, but for me, I'm gonna stand true to it. We need to sort out that number six position because I think that if Tristan goes to the World Cup, he shouldn't be back up for David Miller at six. He should be back up for Klaassen and Aiden at 4 and 5. Um, that should be, or even perhaps even I don't know about three, but maybe Riley so too. But that top 3, 4, 5, that's where he operates. I think that's where he's at his best, with a couple of overs to settle in or a couple of balls to settle in before he gets going. He's very destructive later on in the after he's gotten his eye in. He's not someone that I think comes out and smashes immediately. So that's just my opinion on Stubbs and watching him play over the years. I've never seen him as this big hitting slugger that can come in at the end of an innings and do that job consistently. He can do it now and again. Um, but he's not that type of batter that can do that consistently. I've seen him perform at his best when the team has lost a couple of wickets and he's come in with quite a few overs left to go and he's taken them over the line. Um, that's when I've seen Stubbs operate at his best. Pavuma should not play, says Sam. Brzezinski should give him a chance. Khalid, what do you think? That CSA really needed a leg break spinner who can lead in white ball. We do need some wrist spinners in our team. I mean, we do need to develop more in this country. I think Stubbs should play at least a whole T20I series and at least two ODIs. That will be a fair crack, says Lorenzo. And I agree. I don't think we'll see Brzezinski, Stubbs, Brevis, and Don in one lineup. That's literally throwing young, inexperienced players to the Wolves. Don't like Rob. Don't think Rob goes that way. Needs to be balanced. Yeah, you could say it needs to be balanced, but it's not like our experienced players necessarily are protecting our younger guys anyway. The way they played yesterday, they threw our youngsters to the wolves regardless. So, I mean, I don't think it depends on how the fans react in a way. I think these younger players can play with no worries and freedom if they communicated with in the right way. If the coach goes to them and tells them, look, we want you to just play your natural game, go out there, be calm. It's easier said than done, but at least tell them the right messages. Go out there, play with confidence. It's what you can do. There's no pressure on you. Go out there and give it your best shot and show us what you can do. It will be a completely different attitude from them going into this. Khalid, I am observing that after the new coaches, white ball bowling, little bit not going on target poor balls. Yeah, that's a thing that I've mentioned actually from yesterday's game is that there wasn't a lot of consistent bowling yesterday. I saw a hell of a lot of full tosses, which is not very good in any cricket game. They're not hitting their Yorkers, and they weren't bowling a lot of variations. Like usually, Lungingiri bowls a lot of different variations, slower deliveries, back of the hand, slower balls, and he wasn't really doing that much yesterday, if I remember correctly. A lot of cutters too and stuff like that, but cross seam deliveries, all of that. I mean, we looked like we were running in hard and trying to bowl quickly and hard at the deck, and it was just pitching up into the slot, especially for Mitch Marsh. It was pitching in like all of these boundaries were almost given to him. It pitched perfectly for the big for the slog, and he just belted it out of the ground easily because it was pitching up perfectly. It was sitting up and waiting to be hit. Really embarrassing for the country that not having a world class leg spinner in the country. Lorenzo saying at the moment, Riza is the best candidate for the back up spot for the ODI World Cup. Current form can't be ignored, and he's just continuing from last season. I wouldn't say for an ODI that we look at the T20s and the ODIs and this combined it, because Riza does bat differently in ODIs than he does in T20 cricket. He approaches the game very differently. His ODI form isn't necessarily that good, but his T20 form is brilliant. So I don't know if we can judge it on that. Um, we're gonna have to wait and see what they do with that backup spot. Could they possibly uh, give a couple of youngsters opportunity? Um, give this youngster give these youngsters a couple of opportunities in the ODIs too, or are they going to play their full strength team? I mean, I would like them to build momentum into the World Cup, but let's wait and see what they do with the ODI team to see what Rob has on his mind. Khalid, we've seen this movie before with SA after thumping. They generally don't make any changes as they want to show trust in the guys. Won't be surprised if you see the same top six and Lungi and Shamsi. Yeah, I agree with you, Lawrence. We've seen this movie over and over again, and generally South Africans don't like to make changes. I'm hoping that Rob is different to the coaches of the past, and he does what's best for the future of of this team. Um, for me, Cup preparation should T20 World Cup preparation should be on their mind. For me, that's the main thing when you are playing a T20 series now. Every T20 game must have the World Cup um, at the forefront of every preparation that they do. They must think ahead and try to see which spots do we need to fill, who do we need to bring in as backups. Let's give them opportunities. Which positions do we lack? Like, for example, we do need a six. We still need a big hitting number six because I also still think David Miller as well. Yes, he can do the role, but he's better to bat higher up. He does a better job when he's batting higher up. Um, Klaasen is six, as he can do that six role, but he's also better batting higher up. We don't have a dominant number six that can come in and the smack. So there is a position there for maybe a Donovan to take that position, or to make that position his own. And there's an opportunity for him to show that in this T20 World Cup. We also know that number seven spot is something that is vacant. A backup opener for the T20s as well is something that we need to look at. So we need to fill those positions. We need to give those players that could be potential backups for the first team in the T20s an opportunity in this match. That's how I would do it, and that's how I would think would be the best way to go about it, because you're already thinking about it and preparing for it months in advance. Sam, Riza scoring runs, but he shouldn't start. He should start attacking from 1-2 balls. Never I've seen that he made a boundary in his first over. Now I've seen that plenty of times. Form is form, in my opinion, says Lorenzo. Australia had four debutants and still won by 111 runs. But the young guns in why wait? This put the young guns in why wait? This series is perfect time to do it, and I agree. Um, what about wrist spinners like Sean van Berg, Junaid Dawood, Thomas Kaber? Are they not of international standard? Well, just look how they perform domestically, and then you can judge. I mean, when Shamsi plays domestically, he cleans up domestically. 4 day for 1 day T20s, he's brilliant in domestic cricket. So you have to compare it like that. How does he compare to the others when they play domestic cricket? And Shamsi stands out above them in domestic cricket. He hasn't done it for SA as consistently as we'd like. He's had moments and series where he's dominated and done well, but we need that consistency from Shamsi a lot more. And especially when the conditions don't 100% suit him, I'd like to see him still get something out of the wicket. Wava Vuma backing again in T20, don't know why. Yeah, you see, I also don't get I don't understand the thinking behind it, other than what Rob said in the press conference. Initially, when he dropped Timba and Rassi, he said that they're going to get another opportunity in the future to show how much they've improved their game, and how much they've and that they deserve a spot in the T20 setup. This opportunity arose now where our best players have been rested. So Rob probably thought this is the perfect opportunity to, with a young team, to bring in some experienced guys that can give them one last shot to try and prove that they should be in his thinking. So that's the only thing I can think of. Other than that, there's no logical reason for me. Riza's going to the World Cup all day long. Don't know why people ignore his latest ODI for 350s, for 350s in 5 games. I believe for SA, 350s in 5 games. I believe. Yeah, agreed. Lawrence is Lorenzo. Yeah, I mean, if he continues this form, I mean, for me, if they're thinking of putting Riza into the World Cup, then I would like to see him play the ODIs. That would be a bold move. I mean, you can play Riza in this ODIs now and then give him a proper shot to try and fight for a place in the World Cup squad. It's a perfect opportunity against Australia to do so. Look like Australia is going to have the home advantage unless the Proteas make a strong comeback. Riza is also a good player of spin, so he'll be useful in India, says Cheese. Bavuma should have been focused on his ODI game for World Cup, but he's listening bad comments as he's selected in T20s again after a lot of embarrassment. I also thought that there must be some thinking into it because they haven't played in like 5 months. Um, so any competitive cricket. So I think that maybe Rob was thinking giving Rassi and Tembas a run out also, so that they can be ready for for the ODIs and for the World Cup. I think that's maybe the thought process. Getting time out in the middle, freeing their arms, and dusting off the cobwebs basically, so that they can go into the ODI series fresh and then straight into the World Cup. I think Rob was also thinking about giving them as much amount of game time as possible. I didn't actually think of that angle as well. I think Don is a dark horse. He gets a chance and impress. I think he'll be a candidate as well. Gaurav saying our death bowling is awful. We need to change something. Yes, we do. I would like to see more Yorkers as well. Bavuma needs to get game time, but T20 may not be the best format for him to get game time. Why our death bowlers don't use Yorkers? What is the coaching doing? It's true. I asked that at the top of the show. George Linde is being missed for sure. Sam Shamsi has been worked out by the Aussies and he's not looking dangerous at all. Khalid, Rob Walter should be really careful to not make the same mistakes other coaches made in the past. Don't try to turn players into what they're not, i.e. Boucher with Pavuma. That's a dangerous um, trend. Yeah, it's true. Um, I want to see our players being played in position, their best positions, like especially our younger players. Um, you see, I didn't mind the thought of Dewald coming in maybe lower because I've seen when he's coming at 3 that he can get going from the first over. He doesn't always need time to settle in. He is quite an attacking minded batter. So for me personally, you can experiment with that a little bit just to get Dewald into the game and into the swing of things and used to international cricket. But I know that with Stubbs, he bats much better when his eyes in. He takes some time when he doesn't have the stress of he has to go and finish the game off for his team every single time he goes out to the middle. That's a crazy amount of stress to play with. You end up rushing your shots. You get rushed mentally. It's difficult to keep the focus. And the shots that normally work for you when you have more time, you can't really necessarily use them when you're being rushed to try and take your team over the line every time. And Stubbs has been put in that positions on multiple occasions every single time he's played for the Proteas. Sam says, never I have seen Shamsi to give timely wicket and costly wicket like Virat, Root, Williams, Son, Smith only gets smacked. Australia leg spinner bowled better than Shamsi, so there's no excuse for Shamsi. There isn't. Playing Bavuma, they can give chance to Yanaman Malan. What he did wrong. Um, you can see there's a lot of still things to learn for Yanaman in the white ball format. I think, especially against spin, I think it's still an issue for him. Sarvanan says Aiden should open the batting. Coaches really need to pay attention in terms of bowling improvement and leg spinner searching. I also want Rob and our coaching staff to be more street smart and think on their feet. Yesterday would have been the perfect example to to have sent a Brevis or Stubbs up the order since we chased 227. And you're right. I mean, and I guess they thought because we're losing wickets so quickly, the chance was still there. And they basically came in after a couple of wickets had fallen already. So there was plenty of runs still to chase. I mean, we lost by 111 runs. So there was still it was still an opportunity for them to do so. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. Uh, This is my honest opinion. If we need a finish at 7 for the World Cup, then Stubbs is your guy. Yes, Devote has a higher ceiling, but Stubbs at 7 will be more dangerous. Um, Perhaps, but and that goes to the opposite of what we've been saying here, that he's barely gonna if our batters come off and our first team plays, he's barely gonna get an opportunity at 7 to really play like that. And for me, I don't think Stubbs is that type of finisher. I don't think he's a finisher type of player. Um, I know he can do the role, but I don't think that's his best position personally. I think he's better at 4 or 5 for me, where he does have some time um, to get himself in before he goes gunzo. Hope Brevis lives up to the expectations. He has been hyped a lot. I hope that it's not too much pressure for him to live up to the expectations. I think we all need to be patient with Deva Brevis. He's still young. Let's support him as much as we can and back him as much as we can. Right now, Deva needs to just play as much international cricket as possible and get a taste for it and feel for it so he can adapt his game to it. We should be patient through the downs. We can't just expect him to hit the ground running and just be the best batsman in the world all of a sudden. He needs some time. Let's support him as a fan base. Let's get behind him as a fan base. I've noticed Markham doesn't bowl himself when batters are targeting bowlers. That is when you need your sixth bowler the most. Unfortunately, there's no way he'll bat above Klassen or Miller. So 7 is unfortunately his best shot, says Lorenzo. Yeah, in retrospect, um, that's true. But then in the T20 World Cup, would you not perhaps maybe want to see someone that can bowl wrist spin, like a Theo Brevis get the opportunity at 7, um, rather than Stubbs? Because you'd want your 7 to bowl a bit. And I mean, I don't think Stubbs's bowling is at a high level. He hasn't done it enough at the highest level. Um, like I'm even talking about in SA20s and etc. and in tournaments like that, he hasn't done it enough. So yeah, it is a risk, but I can see where you're coming from. Brevis is the type of player who thrives on getting going immediately. So if we want a finisher at 7, it's between him and Stubbs for that role. DB might just get it as he fits the role more. Way too high risk to hope Stubbs is the finisher. Um, give Donovan Ferreira a chance in place of mediocre T20 batter Bavuma. Lungi Ngidi should bowl less than 7 economy. We know what Ngidi is capable of. As he is the pace attack with youngsters like Kutsia and Janssen. He should show his experience 100%. That was my biggest disappointment of yesterday's game, is that our senior players did not step up and show what they're capable of and lead from the front. The only one that did that was Riza Hendricks. Lazar Williams put in a great shift, but he's not senior by amount of games played. You know, the Lungis, the Rassis, the Tembas, etc., should have been showing or leading the way as a group, as a senior group. And we as fans were calling for Aiden and DB to bowl the overs of fifth bowler with 7-4 split. They can't play 7-4 split with this kind of death bowling. Ashkai says best 11 is Markram, Riza, Rassi van der Dussen, Brevis, Stubbs, Ferreira, Fortuin. Guys, please put your teams in that you would like to see for tomorrow's game. Markram, Riza, Rassi van der Dussen, Brevis, Stubbs, Ferreira, Fortuin, Kutsia, Ngidi, Williams, and Magala, says Ashkai. Again, Lungi and Gidi, let me see. So unhappy. He's having no control. His fitness isn't at his best level. And Gidi's become very predictable with his slow balls, man. He needs to mix it up a bit. And in international cricket, there's no place to hide. Yes, and some cutters as well. We all know CSA loves going with the easier options, says Lorenzo. Is Lungi have been playing so many games with franchise T20. He looked tired yesterday. He hasn't played much at all, actually. I think he's been out the longest. He's barely played anything. Is Magala fit for tomorrow? From what I know, he is. I didn't hear any news that he's unfit. I also want to read out something that also broke today. A little bit before we came online, a story was released by Cricket South Africa about. Okay. Let me just get this up on the screen. That South Africa A will play a 4-day series against West Indies, and it's been confirmed. Cricket South Africa and Cricket West Indies have confirmed that West Indies A will that today confirmed that West Indies A will tour South Africa for a 3-match 4-day series in late November and December. The series, which will be overseen by Test head coach Shukri Conrad, will get underway from 21 November at Willamore Park in Benoni. The second match will be contested at Buffalo Park in East London from 28th to the 1st of December before the series wraps up in Bloemfontein at the Mangang Oval in Bloemfontein from 8 December. Director of Cricket Enoch Nkwe commented, "This is another great opportunity for us to continue building depth within our pool of players that are on the fringes of the national selection. Both the national coaches and I have placed plenty of emphasis on A-team tours, which are a key part of bridging the gap between domestic and international cricket. We are therefore pleased to confirm that our tour against what we expect to be a strong West Indies team, and it will also be a great preparation for the 2023-24 test season." So that's some news that I wanted to just drop over there. Okay, so let's see what you guys have to say, which teams you'd like to see tomorrow. Lawrence says, "This is why I don't want Wavume in the T20 sides. One fail and he's getting slaughtered. This is where CSA would move more backbone and protect Tamba. He's brilliant in other formats. Keep him there." It's true. Khalid, what do you think? Riza, Britsky, Rassi, Markram, Brevis, Stubbs, Janssen, Kutsia, Maharaj, Williams, and Shamsi. I don't think Maharaj is fit for tomorrow's game, Sam. RVD, Raj is RVD, Riza, Markram, Brevis. RVD, Riza, Markram, Brevis, Stubbs, Donovan Ferreira, Janssen, Kutsia, Williams, and Gideon Shamsi. Unain says Rassi batted well yesterday. He showed urgency in high batting at the start of his innings, which we fans wanted to see. I think Rassi shouldn't be bracketed with Timber. Rassi can mighty eat the ball. Man, the mediocre T20 cricketer I'm going to show it again. You have to say mediocre T20 cricketer the entire time. We already know. You've said it like every single comment. He should not be there near that T20 team. He's mediocre at the best and T20 format. Okay. I think Lungi Ngidi will be fine, to be honest. He just needs to play a back Lungi. In fact, Lungi has better limited overs international career than KG the last 2 seasons. And let's be honest, KG is lacking of late. And that's true. I just want to see Lungi um, be the level of cricketer that we know he is. Janssen is a good at tests, but in T20 he bowls more than 9 economy and he will leak lots of runs in death overs. He needs to work on his death bowling and to bowl Yorkers consistently. I think a lot of our bowlers need to learn Yorkers. I think he needs Don in the 11 to finish the game, says Hunain. Back on the Pavuma's case. My team is right up at the top, Khalid. Oh, flip. Bro, I can't go all the way to the top to find your team. I'm gonna have to be scrolling for ages. Can you please repost it if possible? I call it, bro. Everyone, I'm late again. How's it, Wakas? Name some less than 22 years old players who can play SA20 as a rookie player. That's gonna take me forever to think about that now. I haven't prepared for that. MB and DF should get a game time in this T20 series. I agree with you. I think Lungi has been playing so many franchise T20s. He looked tired yesterday. He did look tired yesterday. Let me have a look at it because, from my understanding, he hasn't really had much game time. Let's see. Because lack of game time can also make you look tired as well, and fatigued. Not fatigued, but you just look rusty. Yeah. The last game that Lungi played, a competitive game he played, was before yesterday's game, was on the 2nd of April 2023 in an ODI against the Netherlands. That was the last game he played competitively. So it's a long time without cricket. How's the Durban weather looking like tomorrow? Let me check. So by 6 o'clock, apparently, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and it's 44%, 48%, 31% chance of rain right up until from throughout the game. It says here on the weather website. We don't know which areas it's going to hit, of course, but I don't know. There is a chance of rain tomorrow in the evening, specifically. Throughout the day in Durban, it doesn't look like it's going to rain. Like, for example, it seems sunny from 5 a.m. right up until about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Then about 5 o'clock, it seems like it's going to start raining through the evening. So we are going to have to wait and see what's going to happen with this game tomorrow, if it's going to happen or not. Base Honorable should have been in the team. I'm not so sure in T20s quite yet. Andile Mokhakane, Valentine Katima are talented black batters, but they're still very young and need some more time to play domestic cricket before they can get promoted to the Pro Tier, Suraj. Khalid, was Lungi busy playing leagues? He really looked at no, he wasn't busy playing leagues. According to Cricket Info, when I looked at the last matches played, he hasn't played since April. Lawrence saying, yeah, thank you for your team, bro. Lawrence says Riza, Bretsky, RVD, Markram, DB, Stubbs, Jansen, Fortain, Kutsia, Williams, Shamsi. That's my team, basically. I would be a little bit more brave and Um, I would be a little bit more brave and put in Donovan Ferreira. Um, but RVD deserves another opportunity after his performance, I think. So he at least showed something. But I think that looks like the decent team, in my opinion. It's close to perfect. It's not close to perfect. This is the perfect lineup, but yeah, it's close to what I was going to select. But yeah, it's just because I want to see Donovan get a chance. But that is your team is more likely to be the team actually, if you're going to look at it um, in that way. How much I miss Lungi from 2017. Yeah, Dave Benninger should be there in the squad against New Zealand tour. He deserves that. He hasn't played domestic cricket in a whole year, so he needs to play another year of domestic cricket before he can be up for selection again. Matthew Bose will be the future superstar in making. He will be South Africa Ben Stokes, man. We hope so. Finger crossed for Jordan Henman will shine in the SA20 and will come into the limelight. We are all hoping that too. How you are seeing Vian Mulder's performance in England One Day Cup? I haven't really been watching Vian play in the One Day Cup. To be honest with you. Let me look at his record. I hope he's doing well. 55 not out, 3 for 38. Nice. 51 not out, 1 for 34. Nice. So he's got two 50s in a row. Got a 84, got a 67, got a 67 not out. He's been doing excellently in this with the bat and with the ball. Well done, Vian. That's brilliant. This is what we wanted to see from Vian Mulder. I mean, he's always had the potential to do what he's doing there. Very interesting. Giddy was picked up in some leagues, but never played a game. Exactly. That's why I said, like on the match, on his record on Cricinfo, he hasn't played a game since April, and the last game he played was against the Netherlands in the ODIs. Do you think Rassi showed some glimpses of his improved T20? I think he showed some glimpses of it, that he showed attitude change, mentality change. That's what he showed. He came out and he tried to go for it. Like even the first boundary, yes, it might have went off an edge and raced to the boundary. It was a skewed shot, but the intent was there, and I think that's the difference between him and maybe Bavuma. Bavuma lost his wicket with the defense, trying the defensive shot. Kwena Mapaka is the future superstar. Wanted to see him in the Proteas team. Let's be very very patient with our younger players, guys. Let's bring him back. Laugh out loud. Khalid, please take my last question. Please take care. Huh? What last question? Oh, Khalid, is there any chance that SA can bring leg spinners from another country, just like Tim David in Australia? I mean, we could. I don't know how viable it is for us to do that. They need citizenship and all of those type of things. I mean, iemand here had a South African wife. So maybe we can find some wives for the guys, and they can come play for South Africa. Save their say have their own leg spinner, Junaid Dawood, but he needs to play. He hasn't been playing much. If we want to, I mean, he was in the SA20 with SE with SEC, and he didn't even play a game, which is disappointing. If we want Vian in the T20, then he needs to play in top three. He doesn't have game for number 7. I mean, he needs to play white ball, and for me, his format is white ball. He's 50 over cricket and Test cricket. T20, yeah, he doesn't have to play T20 cricket. Let's see where it goes. But anyway, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, subscribe, click that notification bell for all future videos. Also, subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. become a patron today. Link is on the screen as well as in the description to show your support for what we do here at Cricket Fanatics Magazine. Also, go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your regular updates. So, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you again tomorrow after the game. Let's see if it does rain or doesn't rain in Durban tomorrow. But I'll see you guys after the game. Let's hope it is with a South African victory under our belts. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care. And I'll see you guys very soon. Peace out.